Hey Dragonlings, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a vlog. I don't know how long it is, but it is going to be only one clip, so this is what you're going to see. Because today is going to be about a health update. I've had a lot of people comment asking me if I'm okay, hope I'm feeling better, and I thank you for every single one of your comments, whether it's been on Instagram, Facebook, or here on YouTube. I am feeling a lot better. For those who are new here, we'll get into what's going on, but too long didn't read kind of version. I am feeling so much better than I was. If you're not new to my channel, I apologize ahead of time. A lot of this may be like A, TMI, B, stuff you already know. So, for those who are new to my channel, for over a year, I have been dealing with stomach and shoulder pain. And because it only seemed to happen when I overate, and there would be times where like my stomach and shoulder would hurt, but I was still hungry and I was still starving, and I was still like, feed me, Seymour. Must be blood. Must be fresh. What I actually ended up attributing it to is the fact that I felt like my gauge meter, whatever you want to call it, that says, hey, you're full, stop eating, was broken. Because there would be times like I would eat a ton of food, I would have stomach and shoulder issues, and I would still be hungry. Like I would still be like, I want more food. I am hungry. Give me that food. However, there were other times when like I would eat very little food, like just a snack, and I would still have shoulder and stomach issues. So while I knew that wasn't the exact cause, that was what happened most of the time, was that I would overeat. So I was like, I'm just overeating. I don't know what's going on, but I'm overeating and it's causing problems. However, Thursday, September 30th, I woke up at 3 a.m. and the pain was extremely bad, like worse than it's been in a while. It was so bad that I got sick, and normally in the past when I got sick, that would actually be the end of it. I cannot force myself to get sick. But one of the things I had noticed is on days when I was in that kind of pain and I did get sick, instantly the shoulder pain would go away. Instantly the stomach pain would go away. I would still be left feeling exhausted and tired and achy because I just got sick, and that wears you out. I hadn't had much sleep. That wears you out. But this time that didn't happen. This time the pain stayed. And it actually got worse. It intensified to a point where like I was curled up in fetal position, which actually put more pressure on my stomach, which hurt more. And I was writhing around in pain basically and crying a lot. On top of that, I like to think I have a high pain tolerance, but the more exhausted I get, the lower any kind of pain tolerance I have goes. So even if I did have a high pain tolerance and I was handling it okay, just from the fact that I hadn't slept well, lowers the pain tolerance. So like, I'm pretty certain that's exactly what happened and why the crying started on Thursday. But I was in a lot of pain. Talking to a couple people on the few times when the pain ebbed to the point where like I was semi-functional. I finally laid out all of my symptoms at once for my sisters, and both of them were like, those are the same symptoms we had right before we had our gallbladders removed. You should probably go to the doctor and see if that's a possibility, if your gallbladder is a problem. And I was like, well, thank you. Because they've never told me in the past what their symptoms were. Like I would hear day of, hey, I'm in the hospital, I'm having my gallbladder removed. But I never knew like what the symptoms were that led up to that point. Especially since both had problems with gallstones, and they had been in to see a couple times to have gallstones removed, I guess, by themselves without having the gallbladder. I think. Could be wrong. I can't remember. It's been a couple of years. But both my sisters and a couple other friends were like, you should probably go to the hospital. And because of everything going on Thursday, the kids with school stuff and Justin with work stuff, I did not end up going to the hospital. Mostly because by the time that everything was said and done for the day, that they already were like out and about doing, that's when the pain finally ebbed away enough that I was actually semi-functional again. Did the pain ever go away? No, it did not. In fact, actually, it lingered all throughout Friday. Because again, like I said, usually when I get sick, the pain goes away and I'm good. I'm exhausted, I'm tired, but I'm good. And this time it got worse. And then when it finally did ebb, it stayed. So even on Friday, while I had the same usual symptoms of being like, exhausted and achy and tired, I was also still in pain. It was just manageable pain at that point, and I was able to get enough sleep that it was manageable. Like I was okay-ish. Saturday rolls around. Once again, the pain intensifies. I do not get sick, but the pain has gotten worse. And I finally messaged Justin. I was like, when you get off work, we're going to the hospital because I can't handle this anymore. I'm scaring kids. The kids have come in here to check on me a couple times and found me like curled up and crying again. And it's time for me to get help. There's something is wrong. I don't know what it is, but something is very, 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 very wrong. And he was like, okay, do I need to come home early? And I was like, no, don't come home early. When you get off, we'll go to the hospital. I was like, I've lived this long with the pain. I can live a little longer. Okay. I will be okay. But he did end up getting off early. It was a short day. So by noon, I was checked into a hospital. I told them my symptoms. And they agreed to run some blood work tests, see if they could figure out what's going on. They did warn me. They were like, based on what you're saying and the kind of pain you're in and where the pain's located, we agree it's your gallbladder, probably. We just don't know, like, to what extent. Can we just treat your gallbladder, or do you need surgery to have it removed? We don't know. We don't know the extent of it. So they did blood work, and they told me that they did not have an ultrasound machine to actually see what was going on until Monday. It's a small town. That doesn't surprise me. It doesn't bother me either most of the time. But they were like, okay, so this is what we can do while you are here, since you are here. We can do a CT scan. There's no guarantee it will show us actually what's wrong with whatever's going on. It's not meant for this function that we think is wrong, but it can give us an idea if something is wrong, whether it's something we can handle ourselves or something like it will be enough to tell us you need help now, or you can wait and get help later kind of thing. You can wait until Monday. So we did the CT scan. The blood work came back inconclusive. The CT scan came back inconclusive, just like they said it would. It said, yes, there is a problem. No, we don't know the extent of it kind of thing. Same thing as the blood work. So they told me straight up, like, this is your option. You can go to Great Falls. You can wait here. We'll have the ultrasound machine on Monday, and you can have the ultrasound done. And then from there, we can possibly schedule your surgery. It sounds like you're possibly going to need it. The ultrasound will confirm or deny this. And from there, we can schedule your surgeon. Again, small town. There was no guarantee that even if I had the ultrasound on Monday, that I would have the surgery on Monday. I might still be waiting she was like, it might be another week before you actually have surgery after getting the ultrasound. I was like, okay, what's option 2? Option 2, we send you to Great Falls. If you're new to my channel, Great Falls is an hour and a half from my house. We were now in town, on the far side of town. Add another 30 minutes to that hour and a half, so it's about 2 hours away. Yeah. However, if we send you to Great Falls, you can have the ultrasound right then because they have the equipment on hand. You can also possibly have surgery right then because they have surgeons on hand, and so on and so forth. They were like, there's less wait time is basically what it comes down to. We recommend you go to Great Falls. And I was like, okay, let's do that. And they're like, okay, now here's the next step. We can either send you by ambulance, or you can drive yourself or have someone drive you. And I was like, okay, I know what ambulances cost in America. Let's do the option B of those two. And so Justin came back by the hospital. He had left to go check on the kids because we had left the kids at home. He had driven me to the hospital. He had stayed with me up until like maybe an hour and a half before. And he's like, okay, let me go check on the kids, make sure they're okay, they're doing okay. And then I'll be back. And so when he got back, I was like, okay, here's the plan. You're going to drive me to Great Falls. And he's like, fuck. And I was like, yeah, I know it sucks, but my husband, I'm usually the one who drives for long periods of time. Justin cannot handle them. He can in a pinch if he has to. But long driving periods make him sleepy, and it's not a good idea for him to drive more than an hour. Great Falls is a trip that I'm usually the one driving, unless there is something wrong with me or I'm just too tired. And even then, we usually do a switch off thing. I take a nap and then we switch off. This was not going to happen this time, just because of what was going on. So he had to drive me 2 hours from Shelby to Great Falls. It's probably a little less time, but I always calculate in traffic and lights and road work and stuff like that. Just so you guys know. Because I don't think it took us 2 hours to get there. I think it did because I had to stop at a couple of stops for bathroom breaks, and we had to stop and get gas because the gas tank was like low. So it probably, this time it did take closer to 2 hours, but it probably wouldn't have normally. But because of everything else we were doing, it took 2 hours. So he drove me to Great Falls, and while we were driving to Great Falls, I went ahead and called a family friend/neighbor, and was like, hey, girls are at home. This is what's going on. I'm being driven to Great Falls. Can you watch the girls overnight? And they're like, yeah, we can. We got this. Okay, we'll go pick them up. And then I was like, thank you. And so the girls were taken care of, which was great. And I thank them so much for watching them because they weren't feeling great themselves either. Yeah, I didn't discover this until later, and I felt really bad about it, but I am super, super grateful they were able to watch them. And Justin took me to the hospital. The Shelby hospital did not take out my IV. They were like, you don't even have to change because they're just going to make you change again. And I was like, okay, cool. Because I don't have the patience for that. I don't have the energy for that. So they left the IV in my arm, and I was still wearing the hospital gown, and we actually went to the wrong hospital first because it turns out there's two. There is a psychology children's center, and then there's the actual regular hospital. And the children's center is also the one that pediatrics. The psychology children's center is also the one where they do like a lot of student training. And then there's the other hospital where they have like all the surgeries and the ER room and the birthing babies and stuff like that. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So yeah, we got to the emergency room. I think I waited about 15 minutes in the emergency room while they registered me. The first hospital had sent me with a packet of information that I was supposed to give to the doctors. They also called ahead and said, like, here, we're sending a patient to you. Here's what's going on. Here's what we've done. This is what we're sending her with. And they were actually the ones that were like, don't even take the IV out of her arm. If you think she's trustworthy, if you don't think she's going to be doing recreational drugs, leave the IV in her arm. So that's why I was sent from hospital to hospital, even though I was driving. That's why I was sent from hospital to hospital with an IV in my arm. That's not something they normally do, by the way, because technically I don't think it's allowed. I could be wrong here, but if you're driving yourself, I think they're actually supposed to take the IV out. There was no way I was going to be shooting recreational drugs, even if I wanted to shoot recreational drugs. I was not going to be like, hey, Justin, pull over. I need some heroin right now. It won't go happen. So, yeah. In fact, actually, I think part of what helped was the fact that they were like, are you taking recreational drugs? And I was like, no, I don't think I've ever taken heroin or cocaine, because those, of course, are the first things that my mind pops to. And they were like, what about marijuana? It's legal here. Medically, at least. I know it's here medically. I think it's actually legal here recreationally. But they were like, well, we mean pot. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, you don't have to worry about that with me. They were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I don't want to say I'm allergic because I've never been tested for it, but the smell of the smoke alone makes me want to hurl. So I've never smoked it. In fact, I can't actually be in a room where people have smoked it. And they were like, oh, yeah, I don't think we have to worry about you doing drugs on the road while you're between here and there. So I got checked in, and the first thing they did was more blood work, of course, because And the first hospital had warned me. They're like, even though we've done blood work, they're probably going to take their own tests just because that's what they do. I'm sitting here going, oh yeah, because they need their money. And that might not be the reason, but let me have my dream. Let me have my conspiracy theory about the fact that it's just money related. So they ran more blood tests. In fact, actually, I had my blood drawn 4 more times at that hospital after having already had like blood drawn 3 times. I've now officially had more blood drawn out of me in the past couple of days than I have probably in the past few years combined. So, but they got me the ultrasound and they confirmed it was my gallbladder. And they were like, yeah, your gallbladder's dead. It not doing its job anymore. It is a dead organ. And I'm like, oh, that's lovely. Oops, they kicked the heater. They were like, we're going to schedule you for surgery early tomorrow morning. You'll be second in line for surgery. And we'll get that taken care of. They did warn me that there was a possibility. They were like, while we have you open, we're going to use a 4-arm robot. We're going to drill 4 holes into you. We're going to use a 4-armed robot to get your gallbladder out. But while we have you open, we're also going to check the tube that runs between your liver and your gallbladder, because there may possibly be a gallstone caught in that tube. And if there is, we will actually have to schedule you for a second surgery because the surgeon who'd be able to handle that is not scheduled for tomorrow. I was like, oh, that's lovely. Let's hope that's not the case. So by 2 a.m., I was in my own, well, I would say my own room. It was a own shared room. Justin had to leave for the night because they did not allow visitors overnight unless you had your own personal room, which I didn't. He made it home safely by 5 a.m. He called out of work. Yeah, by 8:30, I think they came and got me for surgery. And I know I was done with surgery by noon, only because of the fact that we were in a shared room. They didn't just wheel me out on the bed. I had to walk from my bed to the bed they would take me down to surgery in. And then when we came back, I walked from that bed back to my bed. And I remember looking at my phone, and it was about noonish. Though I passed the fuck out. And I did not wake up for a good 2 hours. So it was after 2 and I messaged everyone. I was like, hey, I'm out of surgery. Everything went well. Because apparently they did not find any gallstones in any places they weren't supposed to be. So I only had the 1 surgery. So, yeah. And then I slept off and on until 6 p.m. And they came and they were like, okay, we have your discharge papers ready. I was like, what? Talking to my sisters and everyone else I've talked to who's had their gallbladder removed, they were in the hospital for a good 3 days. You've got what? Yeah, your discharge papers. You're good to go. What? So I had surgery at 8:30 in the morning, and by 6 p.m. I was discharged from the hospital. Yeah, Justin got there about the time that they had actually finalized all of my discharge papers, and he picked me up and we left. I was sore, mostly at the 1 incision point. There are 4 incisions. They're going in like a diagonal line where the robot probed me and pulled out my gallbladder. And Justin and I like to laugh about the 1 incision because only 1 incision hurts. And we were like, that's the one they pulled your gallbladder out of. That's the one. That's why it hurts. So that's what we like to joke about now is the 1 incision that's the painful one. That's the one that they had to pull the gallbladder out of, which is possibly true. I haven't a clue. It's just on the opposite side of where they said the gallbladder is, so that's why it confuses me. But yeah. Fun fact, I got out of the hospital at 6 p.m. on Sunday. At 9:30 on Monday, I had my interview that had already been scheduled. I had told Justin that if they weren't going to discharge me, that I would need him to call and cancel or reschedule, see if they could reschedule my interview for Monday. But he hadn't had a chance to do that yet since he basically woke up and came and got me. And it turned out to be a good thing because at 9:30 I had my interview and I think it went well. I think I'm now a substitute, possibly. I've got a lot of things to look into. I've just some paperwork I've still got to turn in, but I think I'm a substitute for the girls' school now. I don't know. When I turn in the rest of the paperwork, I'll see. But yeah, that's how my adventure's been. As far as like meds go, they gave me 4 meds. One of them is actually not related to the surgery at all, because they did a COVID test and they did another test where they swabbed my nostrils. They tested me for like 3 things when I swabbed my nostrils. And one of them was COVID. I was negative for COVID, which is cool. So I'm COVID free, which is awesome since I'm fully vaccinated. It means vaccine worked. Yeah. But I did test positive for something else. It starts with M. I can't remember what it was. And I have like an antibacterial nasal ointment that I'm using for that. And then they've got me on like hydrocodone and some other couple of drugs. And for those of you who are worried I'm not getting enough rest, I assure you I am. Monday was the longest day. It was the hardest day. But honestly, I didn't even have my drugs yet because small town, Sunday drugstores weren't open, especially by the time I'd been discharged. The drugstores, even up there, were like getting ready to close or going to be closing like soonish. Even the CVS was like right across the street from the hospital. And when we actually checked into them, they close at 9 and their pharmacy closes at 8. And we got out of there at 6. And they were like, there's no way we can get the script done today. So rather than turning in my scripts in at Great Falls and then having to make a trip back, we were like, okay, we'll just wait until tomorrow. We'll get them filled in Shelby and then we'll go from there. And so we dropped all my scripts off at the local pharmacy on Monday, and then they were picked up on Tuesday because that's when they were going to be done and filled. And so I will say this, I have been resting since Tuesday very well because the meds they have me on are stronger than any meds I've been on before, and they knock me the fuck out. And I sleep for 4 to 6 hours within 10 minutes of taking them. So I promise I am getting enough rest. So even though you will see me, I am getting enough rest. I am sleeping more than I have in a long time. But I am also feeling a lot better than I have in a long time. My nose is running. It's chilly today. I have not once felt any shoulder pain. I have not once felt any stomach pain. Like I said, only the one incision is actually painful, and it's a different kind of pain. It's the pain of like stuff's healing. Like it's not the pain of what the fuck is wrong with me. It's you're healing, Skye. Rest, relax. So I am getting a lot of rest. Probably more than I ever want in my life because I'm a go, 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 do, do, do kind of person. I've been spending a lot of time reading. I've been spending a lot of time planning on how I'm going to work as soon as I, hit the ground running. As far as like the job opportunity goes, I think the interview went really well. I filled out all the tax paperwork, which is why I'm pretty certain I have the job. Even though they didn't outwardly say, hey, you have the job, I'm pretty certain I do since I filled out tax paperwork. And barring the information that I have to drop off dealing with a background check, I think I've got a job. And which is really cool. Is it full-time? No, it's as needed kind of job. But hey, beggars can't be choosers. And that still means I can work on like client work whenever I have it come in, which isn't happening very often, mostly because I'm not advertising very well. That's where I stand health-wise, if you were ever interested in knowing. And life-wise, honestly, too, because everything is kind of starting to perk up. I am not looking forward to the bill I'm about to get because I did go to 2 different hospitals and I suspect both hospitals are going to charge me for stuff. So that's going to be fun. Because healthcare in the United States is shit. But it was a necessary evil. It was actually one of the reasons why we waited so long before my getting seen was because of the fact that we knew it was going to be shit. Part of me does wish that instead of going to the hospital here in the local hospital, we had just gone to Great Falls. Knowing what I know now, if I could go back in time, we would have just gone straight to Great Falls. It would have been so much better and so much easier. But at the same time, I needed answers. I needed to know what the hell was going on. But I am feeling a lot better. I'm doing a lot better. And I am slowly healing. I'm only on my meds for another 4-ish days at the strength that they're at. And then I cut them in half. One of the meds they gave me was like a nausea medicine. And I haven't once had to take that. There's only been one day I've really felt nauseous. And I sat up, drank some water, and I felt fine afterwards. So I'm not even certain it was actually nausea, if that makes sense. I don't know what to call it. But yeah, this update has been super long, but now you know more about my life than you probably ever wanted to know as far as like my health goes. I'm doing really well. And for those of you who have like commented on all my posts and my videos and stuff, asking how I'm doing and wishing me well and wishing I'd get better soon, thank you. You are appreciated, and I love you guys. I love every single comment. And that's all I have for you guys today. I'll go ahead and let you guys go and get about your day and move on from mine. So until my next vlog, guys, I'm hoping that if I'm feeling okay next week, I can start regular vlogs again and, you know, get back to a semi-normalcy and maybe even a better normalcy now that I'm not going to have this problem of, you know, overeating and having to deal with stomach and shoulder pain. You know, the possibilities are endless now. And I'm like, ooh, I might actually be able to, you know, work more. Yay. So I'm really looking forward to it. And hopefully next week I can get back on track. So thank you for watching this video. And I will see you guys all in my next vlog. Bye, Dragonlings.